Today's video is about practice, as always. Hey, I'm Schanno Johnson. If you don't know me, I'm a musician, composer, producer, and I make videos about all that fun stuff, music composition, music production, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to see videos like this in the future. So I've been making these videos for a while. I've been composing for even longer. I've been playing piano and guitar for even longer than that. And one thing that I've learned in doing this is that, as simple as it sounds, doing it a whole lot gets you good at it. That's the entire point of this video. If you want to leave now, go ahead. I'm going to talk about specifics and, how that specifically works, all that fun stuff, why that works. But that's the main idea. You do it a whole lot, you get better at it. I mainly noticed this in having started making these videos because when I first started editing these videos, I had never used Premiere Pro before. I'd never used After Effects before. I'd never used Photoshop to make thumbnails before. There's a lot of things that I'd never done before editing these videos. I hadn't really recorded with this camera before. I only used this recording thing for recording sound effects. I never really used it to record me talking. I haven't really talked to a camera a whole lot before, or written scripts, or thought of ideas of things to talk about. And after having done it a whole lot, I realized that I've gotten better at it. Faster with editing, better at thinking of ideas, better at communicating those ideas in a natural way, in sounding like I am just talking to a friend or somebody that I know rather than a camera. I've gotten better about a lot of things. I've gotten better at lighting and setting up the camera and background, choosing the background and making sure I'm well lit and just setting everything up so that it looks better. And it got me thinking sort of about my own sort of practice on piano and guitar and all the instruments that I play and writing music and producing music, because one thing that I think sometimes people, and my students especially, kind of forget is that doing it a lot makes you a lot better at it. Even if it's not the most productive practice session and it's not the most effective and you don't feel like you got a whole lot done, doing it will get you better. If you do that every day for just a little bit of time, that will help you get a whole lot better. The more time you add each day, the better you'll end up getting, the more you'll progress, right? If you want to get better at piano, practicing every day for a total amount of time of 3 hours a week is going to be helping you a lot. Practicing for 1 hour total a week will also help, but not quite as much. Practicing 1 week on one day is going to help even less. So you want to do it consistently, you want to do it regularly, and you want to do it a lot. Even if it's not the most effective practice session or the most effective sort of session where you're writing music, you don't write music that you love in that day. It doesn't matter. You practiced writing something. You practiced writing some bad music, but you still practiced writing music. Same thing with improvising solos on piano. I often, when I sit down and play piano, I literally just sit down and play. Recently I've been playing jazz standards, so I'll sit down and play, the head, a couple choruses of solos, then the head again, I'll get up and leave. Maybe that takes 5 minutes. That's it. But I do that a lot, and at this point, I have gotten a whole lot better at playing piano just from having done that. There was a time at Berklee where I wouldn't even really practice real pieces. I would sit down at piano and freely improvise, and even that helped me with my piano playing, because I'd think of some idea, I'd try and get it right, I'd practice it, then I'd write it down. So it also served as a way to help me write music and come up with ideas, right? But I was doing it a lot. I was doing it regularly. I was doing it a whole ton, right? Doing it regularly and doing it a lot helps. Quantity leads to quality. And if you want to get to the quality, you're almost going to have the quantity there. It's going to be really hard to get to really high level playing, really high level writing, in whatever way it is, really high level producing in music, without having done it a lot. That means that every single time you do it has to be as efficiently as done as possible. It has to be maximum efficiency. If you are trying to do that as a beginner, it's nearly impossible, because the person that doesn't know how to practice perfectly efficiently at maximum efficiency level is a beginner. The person that knows how to do that is someone that's been playing for a long time and has practiced a whole lot. As a beginner, you don't know how to practice super, super efficiently, and that's fine. That's part of the whole thing. But one thing you're working on is how to practice. And as you do it more, you'll get better at practicing. I've definitely gotten better at practicing. When I practice now, I am so much more efficient than when I started playing guitar. Even when I played guitar in my jazz ensemble in high school, if I now am trying to solo over a jazz standard, like I know more stuff about music, so that definitely helps. But even if it's a chord progression that I'm not super familiar with, or a standard or a rhythm that I'm not super familiar with, I know how to get there so much faster on all of the instruments. And that's something to remember too, is it helps with every instrument you play. Every single instrument you play, it helps. Knowing how to practice efficiently doesn't just help you learn the instrument you're learning now. It helps you learn any other instruments you might want to learn. It's helped me learn violin and flute. It's helped me improve my trumpet playing. It's helped me with every single instrument that I've played. But you have to get there through quantity. You have to do it a lot. And that's part of the whole thing. That's part of the whole fun, is you're doing it a whole lot, right? Even if you just sit down and play guitar every day, it might not be the most efficient practice, but if that keeps you playing, that'll get you the quantity that will lead to the quality, right? I know people that I went to Berklee with that are amazing musicians simply because they liked playing a lot. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. They just enjoyed the act of playing. I have a friend who when we were at Berklee, I would joke every time I saw him, I'd be like, what instrument are you learning now? Because what he would do was, he was an amazing guitar player. He'd learn just by ear because he liked learning by ear. And he was pretty good at it. He'd just listen to a song. He'd be like, oh, that's cool. Let me see if I can figure it out. He'd figure it out on guitar just while listening to music. And there was a point where one week he practiced playing flute, and he got pretty decent at flute for having played it in a week. And a couple weeks later, he started learning saxophone. So I would joke, I'd be like, what instrument are you learning now? And he just did it a lot. He did musical stuff all the time. It was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing to see him do that, because I was like, oh, right. He's just doing it a ton. That's how he's getting better. He's just doing it all the time. And he got the quantity, which led to the quality. And he got better, right? So just doing it a whole lot. There's a whole video about just practice a lot. Just do whatever you're doing a lot. One thing that's great about music school that I highly recommend, if you get a chance to go to music school and you can afford it and all of that stuff, is it gets you the quantity. You are playing your instrument all the time. Especially at a program like Berklee, if you can both afford it and get in, and you have the ability to do that, it's amazing to have that amount of time to focus on music. You practice a ton, you work with a lot of people, you do a whole lot of music, and you improve amazingly because you're just doing it all the time. You are just soaked in music everywhere you go, and in playing, and good players, and writing music, and producing music. You just get so much better because you are just doing it all the time. Whatever it is you're doing, do it a whole lot. If you want to get better at producing music, produce a ton of music. You'll make a lot of music you don't like, but look, you have to. If you want to make music you do like, you have to make music that you don't like at some point. Maybe you just delete it. You don't like it, you delete it. No one ever hears it. Fine. But do it a lot. Make a ton of songs. Finish them, then start another song and try and make that better, because every single time you write a piece of music, or you improvise a solo, or you do whatever, you get better at it. You get a whole lot better at it. As a personal example, I just finished writing a piano quartet. I've never written a piano quartet before. I've written a couple string quartets. I've written pieces for solo piano plus a soloist, like cello, I think, and piano and violin. I've written small ensemble music like that, but I've never written specifically for a piano quartet. But there's a festival here in Los Angeles that I wanted to submit a piece to hopefully get a performance. We'll see. I wanted to submit a piece to it because it's been going on. It's one of the first festivals I went to when I came here. It's all just sort of like classical chamber music written by living composers. I've gone to it, I think, a couple times, and it's always really fun. It's always has really interesting music. The people there are always really nice, so I wanted to make sure I wrote a piece and sent it in. And I thought, hey, I'll write a new piece for this. It'll get me into writing music again for those types of ensembles, because mostly what I've been doing is electronic music. And I wrote a piano quartet in maybe a week and a half. It's about 4 minutes long, and I'm really proud of it. Honestly, it's a really nice piece. And given that I didn't do much preparation, I didn't do much planning, as much as all my other videos are about planning and preparation, I didn't do that. I kind of just wrote it into Finale and made the score and then sent it. And I kind of wanted to just get something written and sent, and I was very surprised at how much better I've gotten at that, because I've been practicing. I've been writing music. I've been doing all this, right? I've been using Finale, and the quantity leads to the quality, right? Doing it a whole lot gets you to the point where you can do it well, and it'll be easier to do well the more you do it. So that's what this whole entire video is about, is just do the thing you're trying to get better at a whole lot. Even if it's not super efficient, try and make it efficient, try and make it useful and productive. But even if it's not, keep doing it, and eventually you will get better at it. So that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Hope you learned something about music. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.